In the 10th grade, Kinge started a band. Well, technically the band had been started in the 8th grade when Fimi had said she would only sing publicly if Kinge was there with her. So, in the 8th grade, Kinge learned the drums, Fimi learned the guitar, and both of them began to write songs. In the 10th grade, Kinge had her first gig. She stood with Fimi at the back of a hip local coffee shop, clutching her box drum to her chest, staring at the small stage across from them. She felt sick.
I'm gonna throw up,
Fimi said, her voice trembling as she lifted her hand to cover her mouth, as if to stall the possibility.
Don't you dare.
Kinge shot back, voice steadier than she thought it had any right to be.
I'll throw up if I want to throw up. You hate throwing up. Oh my gosh, just shut up.
Fimi sunk to the floor in a crouch, hiding her face in her knees. Kinge felt her stomach drop down right alongside her.
Fimi, it'll be fine. Shut up,
she said again, this time wrapping both of her arms around her head in an ostrich-like maneuver that Kinge was well familiar with. Kinge switched her focus to the small crowd, counted the heads again. There were only 13 people in the shop, 4 of them family, 3 of them friends, and the rest complete strangers. Her pulse jumped under her skin, so she let her eyes slide shut to the sight. She would admit that she was nervous, but she had no idea why. She wasn't even going to be the one singing. Of course, she wasn't going to say that aloud. Her best friend might actually kill her.
Justin Furious and the girl?
A strange voice asked. Kinge's eyes snapped open while Fimi whimpered at her feet.
Yeah, that's us.
The man looked around, and Kinge knew what he was going to ask.
Where's
There is no
Justin?
Justin.
Then why?
It's a bit like Alice Cooper or Coheed and Cambria, Belle and Sebastian.
Okay.
He drew out the word uncertainly. His eyes flickered between Kinge, standing stiffly before him, and Fimi, cowering at knee level.
You're on in 5.
The man said, before walking away. Fimi rocketed suddenly to her feet and stared Kinge directly in the eye for long seconds before she spun on her heels and marched straight for the door.
What the? Fimi!
She set down her drum, quickly asking her brother to keep an eye on it before rushing after her friend. She caught her right as she exited the shop.
What are you doing?
I can't do this. This is a terrible idea. How did I let you talk me into this at all?
Okay, deep breaths.
No deep breaths. No calming down. Kinge, I can't do this.
You can do.
No, I can't. I don't know how you're so calm right now.
Okay, I am not calm. I am in no way calm. You know what my calm looks like,
Okay.
and this isn't it.
Fine, but why do you still want to do this?
Because we work so hard, Fee. For 2 years, we've learned how to read music and play instruments. I learned how to freaking harmonize, and I don't know. I don't want it all to go to waste.
Why does it have to be a waste? Couldn't it just be something great that we did? Just for us? Why does there have to be a goal?
That's not fair.
Kinge snapped, but then she forced herself to take a step back, putting her hands in the air and taking a breath herself. She didn't want to fight. She knew that Fimi didn't want to either, but it was either this or cry.
That's not fair
She tried again, much calmer.
to either of us.
There was a stretch of silence where Fimi did not meet her friend's gaze at all.
I'm sorry.
The quiet girl said finally.
I'm sorry too.
Kinge said. She watched her oldest friend stand before her, hands twisting restlessly against each other, shoulders twitching with unease, gaze glued to the wall at their side. Kinge sighed gustily, rubbing tiredly at her eyes, her own head dropping down in defeat.
If you really don't want to do this, I'll go back in there and tell them it's off. We can just go home.
There was no answer to that, so Kinge nodded and dropped her hands from her face, turning to walk back inside the shop.
I'll be back in a minute.
Fimi's hand on her shoulder stopped her before she could open the door, but the other girl still didn't speak.
What do you want to do?
Kinge asked, trying not to sound as tired as she felt.
I'm scared, King.
So am I.
How are you not freaking out like I am? People are gonna be watching. They might hate it.
Kinge didn't answer for a beat. Then,
They might.
Femi's hand tightened on her shoulder.
But they might not. And whether they like it or not, I like it. I love it. And even if the people in there completely ignore us, I'll be up there with you. And that's no different from any other day.
Kinge sees her brother waving at them from through the glass door, pointing at the stage where she can see the man from before standing with a mic, looking like he's making an announcement.
But it is different.
Femi said.
It doesn't have to be. Just look at me. Turn your back to the crowd if that makes you more comfortable.
That's so weird.
She said on a wet-sounding laugh, and Kinge shrugged.
Let it be weird if that's what you need.
Femi was quiet again, and Kinge could see her brother approaching the door.
So, let's do it. We can do this.
Kinge spun around and wrapped her arms tightly around her friend, releasing a grateful breath.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
We'll be fine. We'll be better than fine.
She pulled back from her friend's embrace.
And we can start the set off with Reined In.
We were gonna do that 1 second.
Yeah, but it's softer and you like singing it more. I think it'd be easier for you to acclimate with that one. Trust me.
Kinge's brother burst through the door and ushered them inside, hustling them to the stage where her drum had already been set down next to Femi's guitar case. Femi's fingers were trembling.
Hey,
Kinge said, catching her attention.
just keep your eyes on me. It's gonna be great. Do you want to face me?
Femi shook her head.
Do you want me in front so you can just look at me?
She hesitated, but then nodded. Kinge moved the mic stand and her drum to the top of the stage and angled herself so that her profile was to the audience. She adjusted the microphone down, closer to her seated position. Femi collected herself as much as she could and strapped her guitar on, taking slow breaths. When she finally looked up, she nodded at Kinge as a go-ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Kinge said into the mic, glancing around quickly to see that only a few of the unfamiliar heads turned to look at them. She didn't know if that made her feel better or worse.
We're Justin Furious and the girl.
That did cause a few more people to turn and look at them, and that 100% made her feel worse, so she averted her gaze and caught Femi's eye, which was unwaveringly fixed on Kinge.
So we're going to sing a few original songs. The first one's called Reined In. Enjoy.
She graced Femi with a bright, albeit shaky smile and firm nod.
1, 2, 1, 2.